This is what I was talking about earlier, the International Virtual Medical School that has only been going the last year or so. I think it's now getting more partners. There's that word again, partners. They're trying to encourage people to put on platforms of clinical conditions and clinical cases, and Western Australia is part of that partnership, and also there are a number of other universities in Australia that are joining next year to do this. And it's an example where you can use virtual patients, you can have other portals to various clinical conditions. And that's the website at the top, IVIM Meds. And if you email, there's a contact somewhere, I think. You can get a username and password to get on and go through it and check its suitability for your particular purposes. Bear in mind, though, that this is novel, it's new, but they are asking for content. But as you'll see in a moment, you can use this portal to put your own content on that's private to you. You can have your own personal little patient list. You can have the public ones that they offer after people agreeing to put them on. You can have ones that are confined only to your school. And there's a number of reasons for that. One of the reasons is that certain conditions, etc., in different countries may be necessarily need to be private or secure. So
this is a subscription based?
I'm not. I think there is a fee for this, a licensing fee, but you'd have to contact the people about it. I don't think it's that expensive, but no, I don't know. One of the key things is, though, and this is useful for you, even if you don't subscribe to it, get onto it every week or so, because down the bottom they have this little weekly or monthly, I think it's a weekly, learning objective of the month. They have these little descriptions that you can send your students to. You mentioned the cardiac cycle. Again, it's using animations, but it's also using other media. And what the student can do, or what you can do, is you can click on there, and provided you've got the media that supports it, you can go through the process of you or your students learning all the details about a cardiac cycle. And basically, if you go through the procedure, just tell me if you don't want to go through it all. It doesn't take long, but it does it in various segments. It has explanatory text on the right-hand side. It plays a movie occasionally. I'm not a cardiologist, so I don't know all the details, but it gives some play another movie. If I had the time, it actually, you can hear the heartbeat and all that sort of stuff if the volume was working here. Doesn't matter, it's not. Go through each segment very carefully. Another movie. You can hear the heartbeat again. And then it gives the summary of the whole thing in the end. So if you just want to access something like this purely to either encourage your students to get more detail or revise things, that's a worthwhile link just in itself. And again, I'm sure if you contact them through some shared agreement, they'd let you download or copy those sorts of learning tools for your particular interest. And I haven't been on this site long because I know it's a new site, but I'm sure over time they'll be adding more and more descriptions of this for the database. It'll be interesting to know what they already have in this particular database. But let me just show you some of the content. I always have trouble remembering passwords. This is one of the ones where I know one of the ones I know where if you access this through too many IP websites, it will close your access off. On the left-hand side, it has portals. One is Riverside, another one is a repository, another one down here is the virtual patient manager. And in each of those, they have separate demonstrations, and some of these won't be able to be shown here because of this. There'll be an access problem, but let's just have a go and just give you the general idea, and then I suggest if you want more information about it, you go and have a go yourself at it. Just request them for a password. Go to Riverside. Perhaps I should say what the University of Western Australia uses it for. The University of Western Australia, as I might have mentioned earlier, has this clinical rural school. In fifth year, our students, or most of our students, get encouraged to go out into the rural areas, isolated areas, and help the communities there in medical practice. And they interact with the virtual medical school and the facilitator at our own university and also Wollongong University to get information about what their particular patients out in the rural areas are experiencing. It might be diabetes, as I mentioned earlier. This helps them to look for treatment, look for symptoms, etc., 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 and it helps them also to load up examples of this onto a platform that the medical school can then use for their students. And again, it's under this human ethics permission that the student obtains.